A very good evening to you and welcome to the NYG podcast. Today is the 30th of December in the year of our Lord 2020. I'd like to first begin by saying thank you very much for you taking time to tune in today to the NYG podcast, which is live on Facebook. It's live also on YouTube. Yesterday we started on Fresh Start. We've been looking at how to start well and how to start the year 2021 very well. Whether pandemic, whether virus, whether no virus, how can you start either in a pandemic or not? We discussed a few things yesterday which we realized that it's been a hidden thing within us. Sometimes consciously or unconsciously, we might not even know that this is what we are doing. And so I believe that today, as the Lord has gifted us with life, He's gifted us with breath, we are grateful to Him. And I have with me KWAKU TANO-YEBOAH, who I started a discussion with yesterday, also very much ready to discuss the concluding part of Fresh Start 2021. The agenda of this podcast is for you to get it right from the start of the year. Yes, you might just be saying that the start of the year, it's 2 days away, but you can still get it right. It's not too late. We said yesterday that it first begins with you. Good afternoon, KWAKU, and welcome.
Afternoon, NYG, and good afternoon to your wonderful listeners all over the world. It's a privilege to be back on together today to continue from where we left off yesterday on Fresh Start 2021. It's something that I feel very privileged to be part of, and I am very excited for today's discussion as well.
Yes, we are grateful. And thank you also for making time to accept our invitation. And just before I go on, today we promise that we are going to be interactive. And so you can send us a message on Facebook if you are listening to us. Drop us a text message if you have any question, if you have any contribution. Please feel free. We would love to hear from you. Also on YouTube, please engage our live chat, which is active now. You can send us a text message. And if you are listening on radio, that is Supreme Praise Radio and Faith Channel Radio, you can get in touch with us on 0044 730 898-3199. We are live on Gospel Exclusive Media on YouTube, Faith Channel Radio on YouTube, Supreme Praise Radio on YouTube, Victorious Christian Live Ministry on Facebook. I beg your pardon, please forgive me. All these pages I am mentioning is on Facebook. Victorious Christian Live Ministry, Supreme Praise Radio, Faith Channel Radio, and also Gospel Exclusive Media. And we are streaming live on YouTube at NYG Podcast. Okay, so we go straight into our discussion. But before then, let me just touch on briefly what we discussed yesterday. We spoke about starting afresh. Before you even decide or think of starting afresh, first it needs to begin with you. I'll just touch on them and then you can listen to the previous podcast on YouTube and also on other podcast platforms. So first, it starts with you. You need to have the mindset of change. You need to tell yourself that I think I've had enough and I want to start afresh or I want to move on. We also touched on the pruning states. We quickly identified some things, major things that you need to obviously say goodbye to. You cannot move on with those baggages with you. Obviously, it will slow you down. And then we also talked about the mindset and the attitude. Today we'll be looking at some real-time and real-life solutions. We will be giving you instances and we'll be giving you real-life practical activities that you can partake and you can do to start afresh. KWAKU, I don't know if you want to say anything briefly before we move on.
Yeah, I'll only briefly sort of give a snapshot or synopsis of what my contributions today will be like, or go like. I have sort of tried to break it down into four areas. So today, hopefully, I'll be talking about opportunity and time. In relation to a fresh start 2021, opportunity and time. I'll be talking about purpose and vision. That's number 2. I'll be talking about process, number 3, and then I will also talk about thriving and growing, which is number 4. So I would channel my contributions in today's discussion in these 4 areas, and with very clear guidance, directions, and examples, which I believe would be a blessing to all of us. I just want to also say that a fresh start is not for certain people and not for others. It's for everyone. Because no matter how wonderful you have been, how great you are, and how great your year has gone, there are things that we can all improve upon. There are things that we can be better. So long as we are still on earth, we have not attained perfection. So a fresh start is for all of us. That is what I just thought I would add to it, that we all need a fresh start in one area or the other, in one way or the other. And just to also touch on what NYG said, that the change starts with you. The start that we're talking about, or the change that we're talking about, is individual. You're not changing somebody. You're not changing something. You're changing you. The change is with the individual. And once the change begins with the individual, everything else falls in place. The systems and the things that are around will also go with it, because the individual is the driver of any of or the pilot or the architect of his own life or his own doings. So if change starts with the individual, it's like driving a car. The car cannot go on its own. It is the driver that takes it to A or to B.
Thank you very much, KWAKU. And this is the NYG podcast. We are live streaming on YouTube at NYG Podcast, on Facebook, and also live on Faith Channel Radio and Supreme Praise Radio. My name is NYG, and I'm here with KWAKU, who you just heard his voice. Okay, let's get it rolling. Picking up from where we ended yesterday, I believe that yesterday I gave an open overview of how to start, and we identified major things that, as KWAKU said, as an individual or as a person that you want to start afresh, you need to have a look at. But today I want to take it from a different view. Aside what we discussed yesterday, today I want us to look at it holistically, because Bible makes us understand that seek ye the kingdom of God and its righteousness first. Okay, but in my study of the word in Proverbs, or let me say after understudying the King Solomon made a striking statement, which in the overview of the book of Proverbs, he said that knowledge, he defined knowledge as accumulated or acquired fact. That is how Solomon described or defined knowledge. And he later went on to say that wisdom is the application of it. This is not quoted in the Bible, but in the overview of the book of Proverbs, Solomon describes knowledge as acquired, attained, or accumulated fact. But then wisdom is the application of it. And so if from this very basis, the King Solomon, whom God made so rich and so wise, is saying that knowledge is an accumulation of facts, and the application of it gives you wisdom. That means to start afresh, to begin fresh. Yes, it is good that you know, it is good you learn. We stated it yesterday. It is good that you do all your research and everything. But if you have all these and you don't apply it well, you will still get the loan from the bank, you will still get the resources, you will still get the infrastructure, you will get everything, but yet it will amount to nothing. And so today we'll be looking at the application of knowledge, which will give you wisdom. But don't also forget that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You see how tricky this whole thing is panning out to be. So, in a nutshell, where I want to pick it from this morning or this afternoon is that before you start, you first need the guidance and the direction of the Most High. Why am I saying this? Someone might be listening and might not be a Christian or a God-fearing person or does not even believe in Christ at all. Well, I am here to encourage you that no matter what you do, you first need God's guidance and direction, because he says that he knows the heart of man. The Bible makes us understand that if we fear the Lord, that is the beginning of our wisdom. And so I think that when you have your plans laid out, when you think you have all the resources and everything seems to be ready, spend some time in prayer. Spend some time asking the Lord whether this is right. For all you know, sometimes what you have planned, Bible makes us understand that man plans, but God disposes. So maybe the timing, even the timing for you to start might not be the perfect timing. Yes, we are talking about a fresh start in 2021, but as to what time does God want you to start? What is it that you are venturing into? And whatever you desire or you want to venture into, is it the right time? Is it the right season? Just like KWAKU said yesterday, there is no competition and no rush. If you're able to identify and you are able to take it before the altar and pray about it, if it is not the will of God, if it is not God's desire, because sometimes in your mind's eye, you might think that, okay, because KWAKU is doing well in selling, I think that if I also decide to sell something different from what KWAKU is selling, it will be good. So you have all the resources, you've contacted the producers and the providers, and you think I am ready to start. But is it the right time for you to start selling? Have you considered your market base? And if even you have to sell, don't forget that there's somebody already selling what you are about to sell. So am I going to sell at the same location? Do I need a different location? So all these things, I believe that will pan out well when you first go before the Lord in prayer, when you first seek the face of God and say, Father, this is what I have in my hands, this is what I have brought before you. David, in his own wisdom and riches and everything, wanted to build for the Lord, but God said, no, you are not the one to do that for me. So you see, if you are to listen and seek the face of God, peradventure, God might even tell you that this is not what I want you to do, my son. I don't think selling is the best for you. Maybe you might be good in marketing. You are not going to sell, but you be a good advertiser for the one selling. So all you need to do is team up with KWAKU, team up with a company, team up with somebody, and you become their mouthpiece to advertise for them. And for all you know, that is where your breakthrough will be. You might be advertising, you might be doing all these things, and peradventure, that is where you might end up meeting your destiny helper. KWAKU, I'll pause for a moment and then I'll let you also chip in something before we go on.
Yes, thank you very much, NYG. And Hello to all our listeners once again. And just to add to what NYG has said and taking it from there, like I said, in line with the way I want to approach it, I will talk about opportunity and time. That I'm in 100% agreement about starting with your maker, starting with God, because it is He who knows what is best for us. It is He who knows what He has brought us into this world for. But I want to take it just one step before that. Even in our understanding that we need to start with God, we need to acknowledge the opportunity for a fresh start. I want to talk about opportunity and time in relation to everything that has been said. We need to acknowledge the opportunity that we have for a fresh start from the Lord, our God, our Maker, just like NYG said, because we talked about forgetting about the past. We said you need to acknowledge what the problem was. You need to acknowledge what was not right. You need to acknowledge where the mistakes were, but you don't need to dwell on it. You need to then be able to forget about it. Forgive yourself first. Forgive others, those who hurt you, those who you can blame for how things went. Forgive and then move on. It is only after you have been able to forgive and moved on, or you have been able to forget about the former things, like the Bible says, that is the only way or the only moment that we are ready for the new thing that the Lord is doing. And once you are at that point, you need to acknowledge this opportunity given to you by God for a fresh start. Why do I say that? The evidence of the gift of life that God has given to you and I is the evidence of the opportunity that we have to do what God wants us to do. So, for anybody, any one of us to have a fresh start, thank God for that opportunity. The opportunity that you are entering into 2021. 2020 might not have gone well. Whatever may have happened in your business, in your marriage, in your career, whatever it is. But so long as you have life, that hope that life brings, we need to be thankful because that hope gives us that opportunity for a fresh start. So we need to acknowledge that opportunity for a fresh start. Opportunity always goes with time. The Bible says in Isaiah chapter 38, verses 18 and 19, it says that the dead cannot praise God. It is only the living who can what? Who can praise God. It is only the living that has an opportunity to thank God for having life to do anything. So once you have life, it is an opportunity for a fresh start. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 from verses 10 to 11, it says that whatever you find your hands to do, do it with all your might, because there is no assignment, there is no device, there is no wisdom in the grave where you will end up. What he's saying is that after death, there is no opportunity again to do what we were brought here on earth for. After death, there is another realm that we are going into. We are going to our Maker. We are going to heaven or wherever, or to hell. I have to say, heaven or hell. But whilst we are here on earth, that is the only time we have an opportunity to perform the assignment that God has given to us. So the gift of life is a great opportunity for a fresh start. And we need to understand that an opportunity mixed with time is the right time. NYG talked about the right time. He says you may want to start something, but the time might not be right. Time in itself is a frame, but the right time or the appointed time, as some may call it, is a moment. The right time is a moment. Time is a frame, but the right time is a moment. And the right time or that moment comes when you have mixed opportunity with what? Utilized opportunity and time together. When you have utilized opportunity in the time frame that you have properly, the right moment will come. That is what? The Kairos moment. That is the appointed time. So we need to acknowledge opportunity and time in starting afresh. That once you are starting on the 1st of January 2021, you, me, every one of us has 365 days ahead of us. That is the time frame to do anything. That is the opportunity that God would give us to do what needs to be done in that year. God has a plan for you and for me in that year to do. We cannot do everything. That's what in 1 year, but there are things that needs to be done in that year 2021. And once we start, we have that opportunity and that time, and we need to acknowledge God, thank God for it, and acknowledge that I have this fresh start because I have forgotten about the past. I've forgotten about everything that went wrong. I have forgiven myself of my mistakes. I've forgiven others of the mistakes that they caused me. I am ready for a fresh start. I am ready to take this opportunity with two hands, because people don't take opportunity with two hands, because whilst they have opportunity in front of them, they are still brooding over the past. They're still brooding over the past mistakes and the past errors and the past sins that people may have done to them and all that. And therefore, they are not able, they are looking forward and looking backwards, like the wife of Lot's wife. When they were asked to leave Sodom because God was going to destroy Sodom, and they were told, keep going forward. Take the opportunity in front of you. Look ahead at where you are going to safety. Look at safety. That opportunity, and keep going. Don't look back at what is happening behind you. She looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt. That is what happens to most of us, that when opportunity is presented to us, we are still looking back sometimes. So this is the first point I want to make, and I want to add that to what has been said, because from taking the advantage of the opportunity and time given to us by God, we move on to the next thing, which is vision and purpose. Purpose and vision, which is what NYG was talking about. God has given us, God has a plan for each and every one of us. So your vision is not the same as my vision. The mistake many people do is that they look at what someone is doing and doing right, and they say, I'm going to do the same, without even understanding what it is. So that is the next step. The next thing is on purpose and vision, and I will talk about that after this. I'll just leave it here for taking advantage of opportunity and for a fresh start from the Lord, and taking that with two hands to utilize it. And we'll talk about vision and purpose afterwards.
Okay, thank you very much, Kweku. It's already getting exciting, and I wish I could just keep quiet and listen to you whilst you talk to us and you talk to our listeners as well, because in as much as I'm on the panel, I am really, really learning. Thank you very much, Kweku. And please, if you are listening to us on any of the social media platforms, please drop your text message or your question. Let us get interactive. If you have anything on your mind, if even you want to make a contribution, please feel free. Send us a text message on 0044 730 898 3199, or you can also send us you can send us a message on Facebook, YouTube, and all the other platforms. Thank you. Okay, so my next point I want to look at here, which is, after you've spoken to the Lord, after you've made all your plans and everything, in the initiation state, in the process, because obviously until the whole business is accomplished, you see it as a project. But in the initiation stage, whereby you decide now everything is in place, I am now taking the step. What you need to do is to talk to the right people. After you know the timing is right, after you know everything is being made possible for you to step out there, what you need is to talk to the right people. You cannot do without experience. You cannot do without partnership. You cannot do without teamwork. Even if it is soul trading, you still need a partner. You still need someone to do the business with. Unless you're producing your own, products, you do your own product and it's something that you do, maybe catering or something. But even with that, you still need suppliers. You still need the delivery drivers. It is about talking to the rightful people. Align yourself or get yourself into a group or a sort of partnership. It might not necessarily be, a large number. One thing you also need to know is that start small. Take it one day at a time. But the most essential thing here is that talk to the rightful people, the people who matter most. Why am I saying talk to the right people? Because after you have gotten this stage, after breaking the barrier and also doing away with, guilt, forgiveness and all that, if you don't talk to the rightful people, then you will see yourself going back to the start. Because there are some people who you will talk to, and believe you me, their scope of thinking, their measure of analysis might not be as good as yours. And so whatever you share with that person, the vision you discuss with that person might see it as a mountain. That person might see your vision or your foresight as a tower or as a huge block before you. As long as that person feels, well, I am not able to do that, I can't do that, the next thing the person will say, or the word that will come, are you sure you can do this? The moment you begin to hear such words from the people you are talking to, end the conversation. There's no need to argue. There's no need to explain or tell the person into details. End it there. What you don't want to do is for somebody to tell you reasons why you can't do it. And the reason why you need to end it there is because, don't forget, you've spoken to your Father. He is the creator of the universe. And in Psalm 8 verses 9, I believe Psalm 8 verse 9 or Psalm 8 verse 6 in the books of Psalm, he said he made man in his own image and gave him dominion over the work of his hands. And so you should have at the back of your mind that God has given you power, dominion, and authority over everything that he has created. Everybody and their mindset. But as long as you've spoken to the Father, you know you are in right alignment with God. You've spoken to him and everything is cleared. You need to talk to the rightful people. If not, the same people you will be talking to will be the same people who will be killing your vision. You don't want to be going back and forth, and you don't want to see yourself in the midst of people who would discourage you. Secondly, you need to speak to the rightful people, because when you talk to the rightful people, or you talk to the rightful persons, they are the people who would encourage you. Because if they feel they are not able to do it and they buy into your vision, they are thinkers, they are well-wishers. They will tell you, listen, I believe this is going to be a daunting task, but I am sure that when you give it a try, it will work. Those are the people you need to align yourself with. Speak to people who would encourage you, because believe you me, the aircraft you see flying overboard, the skyscrapers you see out there, the mansions you see, the jet fighters, the cars, the luxuries, all of those things, if you put the human brain down on a plate and you look at the inventions of man, you see that the brain is much smaller than the inventions of humanity. But why are they able to invent skyscrapers, rockets? They're able to invent, people go to the moon and all that. Why are they able to do that? Even though the mind is small, the brain is small, it has got the capacity to do beyond its size. And so when you talk to somebody and you see that person's mind and brain and thinking is not within your scope, my dear brother, my dear sister, just end it. I am pleading with you, do not even try to argue or explain yourself. Move on to the next stage, because you don't want to be discouraged. And what the discouragement can do, or those words can do to you, is that as soon as you begin to think of, okay, what this guy said, what if, then you know you are not moving, you are marking time. As soon as you begin to question your own integrity, then now you are marking time. What if the loan that I've taken from the bank at the time of maturity, the business is not going as KWAKU said? What if I invest and the whole thing doesn't work out? As soon as you begin thinking like that, every major step you take on the way, you are doubting your integrity. And in this world, one of the most worst enemy that can hinder and always make us retrogress is inside of us, and that is your feeling. And so if you begin to submit to the words of the wrong people you discuss your vision with, then what they do is they attack your feeling. You begin to feel that if I do this and it doesn't work, KWAKU said that this is not possible. Have you ever seen somebody do that before? So why don't you be the first person to do it? And so talking to the rightful people is very essential when it comes to starting right. I'll do my final point on talking to the rightful people, and then I'll let KWAKU come in. In the meantime, as I said, you can send us a text message on Facebook at Victorious Christian Life Ministry, Supreme Praise Radio, Faith Channel Radio, Gospel Exclusive Media. These are all pages on Facebook, and you can also send me a message on my personal Facebook page, that is nanayaogeorge.nyg. And then also on YouTube, our page is interactive. You can also get in touch with us over there. My final point on reasons why you need to speak to the rightful people is that when you talk to the rightful people, they are able to give you the right counsel. They are able to lead you and connect you to the rightful people. This world that we live in, it is all about connections. I know there are some parts in our world where we say whom you know, but even if it is whom you know, it's still about connection. But in this part of our world, we talk about networking. And so speaking to the rightful people will lead you into the right network. You need to get yourself aligned in the network of people and in the network of friends who would tell you that, listen, this thing you are doing well. Even if there is a storm, even when you are hit with a challenge, you need certain kind of people who will sit you down and say, KWAKU, I saw this thing the last time, which I feel you didn't do right. If you don't mind, can we make some time, maybe this weekend, sit down and then brainstorm? These are the people you need to align yourself with. And just before I let KWAKU come in, one of the things that I will urge you to take a look at is, whilst we talk, whilst you listen to this podcast, just cast your mind back to the contacts on your phone and ask yourself, how many of them, or how many people on my phone, the number of contact and saved names on my phone, how many of them have I ever discussed, shared a vision with, and they could not give me an encouraging word? Think about that, because I have something to ask you after. KWAKU, I think I will let you come in, and then I pick up from there later.
Wonderful. Thank you, NYG. Yes, taking it from there, you've talked about people and the contacts that you have and how you deal with them, and how the right contacts or the right network would help you, and the not so right network is able to mess up your vision or make you lose focus on the vision. And on that note, I want to talk about vision or purpose and vision, and I will talk about people and how they connect to it as well. Once you have acknowledged the opportunity and time that you have been given by God for a fresh start, and you thank God, you are thankful to God that God, I thank you that I have seen 2021, that I am going to see 2021, that I have days ahead of me to do what you want me to do. Once you have got that, then you will need to have a vision. You see, what are you starting? Vision. Without vision, you cannot start anything. Before you can start anything, you need to see the end. And that is vision. Vision is simply seeing the end from the start. When you can see the end or the destination, then you are able to know how to position yourself well on the starting line. And that is what brings me back to what I said yesterday about resolutions and goal setting. That the difference between resolution and goal setting is that with resolutions, we make blasé statements. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it is just spoken or said in the spur of the moment. They are aspirational. And there's nothing wrong with aspirations. But when the aspiration is not concrete on any foundation, there is no vision there. Why do I want to do this? Why have I set this goal in front of me for 2021? That is goal setting. That is vision. So vision is you seeing where do I want to be next year by this time? What do I want to have accomplished? What do I need to have accomplished? Now, vision is founded on purpose, and that's why I always talk about purpose and vision, because vision is the seeing. Vision is actually seeing clearly. It is a clear demonstration, a picture of what you want to achieve. Now, purpose is the reason why you want to achieve that. So purpose is the foundation of vision. There should be a why before the what. There should be a why before you do what you want to do, what you're going to put there. So purpose is the reason for our being, and I've said this statement many a time. That purpose is the reason for our being. The reason why we are here on earth is for a purpose. God has a purpose for you and I. And purpose is not your purpose. It is not my purpose. Purpose is God's purpose for our lives. I am here for a purpose. It is not my purpose. I didn't bring myself here on earth. You did not bring yourself here on earth. So to know the reason why we are here, we need to go back to God for the purpose. And we talked about this, NYG talked about this, that you go back to what? To God for understanding why I am here. The reason I'm talking about all these is that when NYG was saying that sometimes friends can dissuade you from the vision, the only time these things, or the many times that these things happen, not the only time, but how easily these things can happen is when the vision is not on a firm foundation. When the vision is not on a solid foundation, when the vision is, there is not a strong reason. If you know your purpose and you have a vision for realizing that purpose, it is very, very difficult for anyone to be able to dissuade you from it. Purpose is understanding why you are here, what you are here for. If the purpose is not known or understood, the vision will be on shaky grounds. So if your vision is to build a house, your vision is to have a car and all that, and it is not founded on any purpose, why? Why do I want to marry? Oh, is it just to have children? Is it just so that my friends will also know that also me too, I am married because I am 30? If these are the reasons, that is not purpose. And therefore, the vision becomes shaky. Any man that comes along the way, when the time is getting late, you go like, oh, I need to grab what I can grab because I need to be married so that my friends would know. But if you understand that marriage is for a purpose, is for fulfilling purpose, you need to have someone that you share a common destiny with so that you can accomplish what God wants you to accomplish. If you understand this, then you will be able to keep to that vision that I need to find the right woman. I need to find the right man. The vision, it is clear the kind of man, the kind of woman that I need to be able to accomplish what God wants us to do. And therefore, not just any man would do, not just any woman would do, not just what people are saying would do, not what just parents are saying would do. The reason why all these things can cloud our judgment and then the vision becomes shaky is because purpose is not understood. Now, in Habakkuk chapter 2 from verse 1, the writer said that I will stand my watch and stand upon the tower to what? To see what the Lord will say to me. To see what the Lord will say to me. That is vision. Vision is seeing, but he was going to see what God is going to say, not what God is going to show, what God is going to say, because God speaks to our spirit. So he says, I will stand upon a tower. What is standing upon a tower? It is going into prayer. So going to God to understand, God, why am I here? Why, what do you want me to do? Why did I even come from amongst my people? Why am I in this environment? Why am I living where I live? And all these things. You need to ask your maker, and these things will help you understand purpose. Why am I the way I am? Why do I like the things I like and the things that I don't like? Because that would help you realize who you are, what you are here for. Because your passions, your passions and your desires and all those things define who you are. And when you know that, your vision can be clear. If all along since you were young, you can draw, you're very artistic, you're very poetic and all this, and then someone says you have to go and do science, and you just follow the bandwagon because everybody is doing science, you don't know why you are here. But if you know why you are here, and you realize that no, science is not my thing, but the arts is my thing, and therefore I need to, whenever I'm doing something in the arts, I am happy. And I feel fulfilled. And when I do it, it makes impact. Whatever I do, people accept it. People acknowledge it. People say, oh, that's beautiful. That's good. Well done. It blessed me. Oh, I liked it. So why are you doing science for? Because people said do science? So vision on shaky grounds is the only way that people and circumstances and situations, external factors can cause us what? To shift focus. But if your vision is concrete on the purpose of God for your life, you will be firm in these things. You will understand these things. So purpose is God-given. Vision is for you to see. But you need to go to your maker and be able to find out why you are here, understand it from your passions, your desires, and all that, and then have a vision. That is why I want to build a house, because it is towards me being able to do this and to do that for achieving the purpose. That is why I want to have a house in this particular location, in this particular area. I need to live here so that I can reach out to the people there, because that is where God wants me to go. I need to go and study here in Scotland or in Oxford, because that is where I will be able to do, I'll be able to get the opportunity to enter into politics properly. So I need to get to Oxford. So that is why the vision is Oxford. Because the purpose is to do politics for the nation. These are some of the things. So when your vision is concrete, then though you would have people and external circumstances trying to hit against your vision, you will not give up hope. When Joseph dreamt in his childhood that he was going to be a leader amongst his people, he dreamt it once, he dreamt it twice, and even his father and his mother rebuked him that, are you saying we are all going to bow to you? But this guy knew what he saw. He knew what he saw, so it didn't change him. They put him in a pit, he still knew what he saw. They put him into prison, he still knew what he saw, because in prison he was still dreaming. He was still seeing things. And see where it landed him. So in the end, when his family came back to Egypt to bow at his feet, he said, get up. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. He did not let the vision waver. He was hit. He was attacked, even by the very people near him. And that would happen. All the relations we have, some are good, some are bad. And sometimes even the good ones with good intentions would advise us wrong. I remember where we grew up from. Many people put away their footballing career because at the time, all that our parents knew was that you have to study and do science. You have to go and do business or do this or do that. And therefore, their passion, the giftings within them, some of it was shelved. I have friends back in my secondary school who were very good footballers. And I saw that now one has formed an academy back in Ghana. But he was a great footballer. But because he wasn't given the opportunity by parents and by friends and all that, because we didn't see where that was going. But thank God that vision of still doing something with football, he is doing it. So this is my submission here about purpose and vision. Because once you have clearly seen it, you are on the way to a good, you're on the way for a good start. Vision is very important at the beginning. You need to see the end from the beginning. Now, it is usually said that the end justifies the means. But I say that the end justifies the process. I want to talk about process. The end justifies the process because it's not every means that is good means. Some means are bad means. So the end does not justify it. If you're going to have to kill people to get to where you want to get to, the end doesn't justify the loss of life. But the end justifies the process that we need to go through, because to get to the end, you need to go through a process. And I will talk very much more about process, but I'm just looking at time, and I will let NYG continue, and I'll talk about process.
Thank you very much, Kwaku. And really, time is what I have also been looking at here. Not to really go wide from where you just ended, let me also pick up a little bit on talking about passion and also the giftings. You see, I would want to, paraphrase this here. Even though we are talking about getting it right from the start and a fresh start, let me also come up with this point. How then? Because someone might be listening and say, okay, I've been listening to you since yesterday. You've made all the points you've talked, but how do I start? How am I able to pinpoint that this is the right kind of start for me? This is the right kind of business for me to do. This is the right decision I am making or I am taking. Let me narrow it to when you want to start your own, let's say, business, or you want to start something on your own, a private thing to do with investment. Let me talk briefly about that. How are you able to identify that this venture is what I want to, invest in? Kwaku made mention of, knowing great footballers of the days whom, because, parents will say, listen, I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be a pharmacist. Then their God-given talent is whirled away. Okay, now, because of time, so at least yesterday we promised that we'll bring you some solutions today. One of the things you need to consider carefully when you intend to invest, and here I'm using investment to generalize like business, selling, everything. So let me just, use investment here. When you want to invest and get it right from the new year, and when we say the new year, we don't necessarily mean from January 1. You could start all your preparatory, work and all the underground works, and you might even find out that you are starting somewhere in May. There's no point in rushing. When you get it right, when all falls in place, when you see the puzzles put together to make a perfect picture, then you can start in all confidence. Just as KWAKU said, if the purpose and the vision is not grounded firm and deep, that is when any voice can shake you. Because bear in mind, it is not everybody or every friend of yours that wish you well. And that said, enough.
That's right.
What you need to look out for, the very first thing, is your passion. What are you passionate about? What do you love to do? What is it that when it comes to mind, you want to go all the extra mile to give your best? I once said in a lecture somewhere in London, I think it was somewhere around Wembley. In a lecture, I was doing a mini lecture over there, and I said to the people I was talking to that the best of you can only come out of your passion. How do I mean? Think about what you are passionate about, and look at when it gets to time. Myself, for instance, aside work and everything, I love sports. I love football. And so my wife will always make sure that when my team is playing, she either serves my food first and make sure that I've eaten before the game starts. Because there are two things.
So you will not be disappointed
Exactly.
when they lose.
Because when I lose, sometimes the food goes bad. But why are we saying this? What are you passionate about? Someone might spend hours on phone, from Instagram to Twitter to FaceTiming. There's another one I've forgotten. This video, Snapchat, yes, and then Facebook. And then I ask myself, if you have time to spend hours on social media, and if that is your passion, have you considered being a blogger? Have you considered starting a business online? Because you spend time, and I'm saying this carefully, I will come to a point whereby I will talk about you waste time, but now I'm saying you spend time online. And there are people who, when you talk about social media, for instance, myself, I'm not really good at Facebook. I hear the other day in a conversation, a friend was telling me about Facebook Market, and I'm like, oh, so you do all these things on Facebook? He was actually telling me the things that Facebook Shop, Facebook Market, Facebook this, and I'm like, so what are you doing with all this knowledge? You have all this insight about Facebook, and what are you doing? And how did I ask him that? Because I asked him, how did you know about this? He said, oh, most of the time I'm on Facebook. And I'm like, you see, you go watch people are doing there. You go watch what people are doing there, and you are telling me about it. But what are you doing about it? What are you passionate about? What do you spend your time doing? What is it that gets your attention? Remember, the very best of you comes out of your passion. If your passion is to cook, if your passion is to always make sure that, my friends are okay, my environment is tidy, have you thought about starting your own cleaning business? If you spend time online, have you thought about either starting your own online business or starting a blog to advertise products? If your passion is about football and you are very good in football, but because of something you could not get a chance to play football, or because of your age you can't play football, have you thought of impacting someone with your skill? Just as KWAKU said, you can impact by setting up a football academy. So what happens? You are not away from what you love to do. You will still be playing the football. You will be registering people to come to your academy. You'll be making money, but yet still you are involved in the game one way or the other.
That's right.
Passion moves hand in hand with your God-given talent. Kweku mentioned giftings, and I will, clarify them here as talent. What is your talent? What is your skill? Remember, there's not a single human being on earth without a talent. You might say that, well, I don't know what my talent is about. I don't know. Please take time. Sit yourself down. The best way to identify your talent is find out what drives you. What is it that you are so much involved in, or when it comes to this particular issue, when it comes to this particular, hobby or something. You could even identify your talent from your hobby. Find out what you are passionate about. The reason why I'm stressing so much on passion is that it is the only way you will start your own investment and not be derailed from it, because you know the level of commitment you have to what you are passionate about. And so when you are releasing what you are passionate about, when you are doing what makes you happy, you don't need a second person to tell you that, listen, this thing, I think when I see you do this, you're excited. Because deep inside you, you know that this is what I love to do. And so as you do it and you do it well, you get the best out of you, and the best out of you will bring you resources. The best out of you will bring you revenue. The best out of you will let somebody see your venture and say, listen, everybody is doing a football academy. Everybody is doing marketing. Everybody is doing radio. Everybody is doing motivational talk and motivational speaking. But there is one unique thing about KWAKU. And that unique thing is the passion that you add to the football. The passion that you add to what you do. Let me just chip this in. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was watching Crystal Palace play football. And after the game, the panel in the studio were talking about Wilfred Zaha always being angry playing football, and his anger, his temperament. And when after the game and he was being interviewed, and the guy said, you look so angry at your team. And immediately the guy did not finish. He said, listen, it's not anger, it is passion. This is what I'm passionate about. I play football with passion. And so when I'm seeing other people come at our back, and I'm quoting exactly what Wilfred said. He says, when I see other teams come at our back and attack us on a break, and I don't see my team doing same, it gets me so angry. Because I give all of me on the field. When I'm playing with 100% passion. So you see, someone mistook his passion for anger because he was not happy when his team was not delivering. And if you should get about 4 or 5 people of the same like passion playing football, imagine what happens. And the same way, if you approach your business, if you approach an investment with something you are passionate about, you will not wait for your team or your salesperson to come and tell you, oh, this or that. No, you will go out there. I know someone who started a business and was his own salesperson. Because some of the salesmen will go out there and wouldn't want to go into certain places. But this is the guy who understood his business. This is a guy who has a shop, and when people come and buy from the shop, he goes the extra mile and say, Mom, if you don't mind, I can help you to your car, because the shop was just by the roadside. Mom, if you don't mind, I don't have cucumber today. I don't have carrots today. But if you don't mind, my orders are coming in the next 1 hour. As soon as they come, I'll give you a ring, or I can even deliver it to your house. What extra touch are you adding to your passion? Yes, passion is okay, but you need to add just a little so that would distinguish you from the others. Let me move on from passion to talent. And then, when you identify what you are good about, ask yourself, how much knowledge do I have or insight do I have into what I am talented or my talent? If you feel you need to go the extra mile to acquire or get extra knowledge, please, training is very essential. Because even though you might have a talent, it might just be a raw talent. So you need some sort of training, some sort of polishing to become bright. And so, two things that I've mentioned here is identify your talent, find out what you are passionate about, and then begin to look into it. And when you begin to go to that direction, you will realize that you are in business and you are happy. Most of the time, we hear people say, well, I'm not happy with my job, but then I still need to be there because I need to make revenue or I need to make ends meet. Please, and a very big place. One of the things you need to carefully consider when starting right is, am I starting on a good note? What am I passionate about? Am I going to be happy with what I'm doing, or I need to do it because the situation demands? It is not wrong when you have to do something or you need to work, you need to work at certain points in time out of your passion zone. You can start there, and that takes me to my next point. You can always start small. You don't need to start very big. If you have the means to start big, good. But if you don't have the means to start big, you can always start small. Start small, understudy, and always use the review process. Always use the review process. This is how I started. This is how it is going. Is it going upward or it's taking a nosedive? That way it's easy to change and it's easy to move straight into contingency. But if you start big and it starts go wrong, then it's quite difficult and the losses also becomes huge. For the sake of time, I will let KWAKU also chip in. But as I said earlier on, all the platforms we are on are live, and our text lines are active, so you can engage us via text message. You can engage us on YouTube. You can also engage us on Facebook. KWAKU, please come in for the sake of time.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that is very good, and I will add a bit to that in this submission. I just want to carry on from process, and then I will add to this submission. So as I mentioned earlier, that process is the next stage for anything that we get into, anything that we start. Process is the stage or the phase between the start and the end. So vision is the end, and you start seeing the vision, but process is the period or the phase between when you start and vision being fulfilled or vision being accomplished. And process would last for your lifetime, for a person's lifetime, if indeed they are walking in purpose. Because purpose is why we are here. So if your vision is founded on God's purpose for your life, and you are at it and you are doing it, until you leave, you are within the process of fulfilling vision and fulfilling purpose. And vision are pictures. You will see it. The Bible says that write the vision upon a tablet, make it clear that he may run who sees it. Making it clear means breaking the vision down into chunks that you do one at a time. Like I said, you go to Oxford, then you get into politics, or you do this, and you get into a football academy, and then you get a good team, and then you become a national star, and this and that. So, but process is that period or that phase between the start and the end, and that should last for a lifetime if you're indeed walking in purpose. And the process phase is called many things: mission, journey, the course that you are charting, whatever it is. But the single common denominator in this phase of life is that it is not plain sailing. The process phase of life is not plain sailing. So much as we're talking about a fresh start, starting afresh, whether it's a business, whether it's starting afresh in your marriage, whether it's starting afresh in your education, in your career, whatever it might be, once you start and you are getting towards what the vision is, I want you to understand that the process to getting there, that journey to getting there is not plain sailing. That is the common denominator of process. It is not easy. It has highs and lows. It has peaks and troughs. It has broad paths and narrow paths. It is sweeter, it's sweet in some parts, and then it's bitter in others. It is easy and it is hard in some other areas. So it is a mixture of everything, and that is the phase called process. And the process phase has a price attached to it. That is a price you have to pay. For you to achieve what you want to achieve, when you have started, there is a price to pay. And some of the prices to pay is, like we said, cutting down certain friends. Some of the price to pay is like moving location. You may love the place you are, but that is not what is going to get you to where you are going to. So you may have to move, and it's a price to pay. The Bible told us, Jesus said in one of his messages in Luke chapter 14, he says that who builds a tower or builds a house without sitting down first and counting the cost. There is a price. There is a cost to what you want to do. There is a cost to achieving your vision. There is a cost to attaining that business that you want to do. There is a cost to it. You don't just start a fresh start and that is it. It is plain sailing and you get a big business, or you are the biggest football star, or you're the greatest doctor that ever lived on earth. All those people went through process. Nelson Mandela went through process to get the freedom that he wanted for South Africa. That was the vision. And his purpose on earth was to come and bring freedom to these people. But he went through the process. He was imprisoned for 27 years. Process is not easy. There is a cost associated with it. We have heard of nations that have been built on the blood of people. They paid the price for it. So you need to brace yourself to pay the price for the process that you need to go through for your fresh start. When you have started afresh, going through to achieving vision or achieving God's purpose for your life, you have to brace yourself for the price. And how do you do that? We've talked a lot about it, and NYG has enumerated a lot of things. We've talked about building or investing in a solid foundation at the very start. We've gone to length about that. And that means a lot of things. It means having the vision, a well-grounded vision. It means being passionate. It means a lot of things. But you need to start right. Build the right foundations. If you're starting a business, build the business on the right foundations of truthfulness, of honesty, of faithfulness, of being trustworthy, having a unique selling point, which is what NYG was talking about. What makes you different from the others? All these things come in the foundation, at the start of what you are doing. When you're starting a marriage, what foundation are you putting into that marriage? Honesty or lies? Truthfulness? Can you be trusted? Build a solid foundation from the start. Build a solid foundation from the start. And then you sow in good ground. Sow in good ground. When you are building, you put your investment in the right places. There is a parable of the sower where he sowed some on the wayside. He sowed some in thorny soil or thorny ground, and then he sowed some also in good ground. There are various areas that you can sow. There are certain places that you put your money that it is a waste of time. It is a waste of time. You might think you are investing, but it's going nowhere. You need to find the right places to sow. Sow in good soil. What are you investing your time in? And NYG went at length with that. What are you investing your time in? Because you might think you are investing your time in something, but you'll be wasting your time. He talked about spending time and wasting time. So right. Put your time into the right things. If what you're putting your time in has no bearing on what you have started, on your business, on your marriage. You said you are married, but you're still talking to certain friends who are not adding anything to you. Then where are you sowing your time? Where are you sowing your time? So sowing is not just about sowing money or sowing seed, but it's also sowing your time. What are you investing your time to? You can invest it on bad ground. You can invest it on stony ground. You can invest it in thorny places, and it will choke it and it will waste. It'll be wasted. So sow right. And then you need to save in the good times for the bad times. Like I said, the process phase has highs and lows. So when you are in the high stage, in 2021 is going to be like that. No matter how you call the year is going to be my year of great whatever and whatever, it's going to have highs and it's going to have lows. It's not going to be plain sailing.
Definitely, KWAKU.
So when you have your highs, when you get to the broad ground, when you get to the sweet parts, put some money away. Put some money aside for the bad day. And if we need anything to remind us of this, of the reason why we need to save, then 2020 is a perfect example. The pandemic has made us realize that we need to sow for a rainy day. When the sun is shining and everything is beautiful, you need to sow for when the snow comes and no one can go outside, when the weather is cold outside. So you need to save for the good times. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 1 and 2 tells us that cast your bread upon the waters. After many days, it might come back to you. Sow right. Save right, that is. Stack money in the right places. Invest right. And invest in things that you know. I have made some investments in my life that I've lost it because I did not invest right. So you can invest wrong. You can save wrong. Save right. Know what you are putting your money into. The business has started. You're making a bit of money, and all you're doing is you're buying cars and you're enjoying yourself and you're changing clothes. Is that where you're saving your money? Or you're saving it somewhere, investing it into certain things, so that in the day that things are difficult, you can go and take money out with interest to keep the business going. And then we've talked about establishing the right relationships. That we have talked at length about it. Establishing the right relationship. You need people to succeed in your vision. You need people to succeed in what you have started. You will not do it on your own. Everybody needs somebody, but you need the right people. So establish the right relationships. The relationships that are not good, cut them off. Cut them off. And then grow. Grow what you have started. In 2021, when you enter and you start something, your education, your business, your marriage, whatever, grow it. Grow what you have started. It will not be easy, but grow it. Growth comes by being disciplined. Growth only comes by being disciplined. You cannot go through the process without being disciplined. You have to discipline yourself. Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, 26, 27, he said that what? I discipline myself so that I will not be a castaway after I have preached to many. I do not fight like I am just boxing the air. I look at a target. I train myself. I discipline myself to be hitting the right target. So we need discipline for growth. Growth comes through discipline and through improving ourselves, through learning. Improving yourself is learning, developing yourself, continuous improvement. You don't start a business and say, I have arrived. Because your business, your sole proprietorship, can become a PLC. It can be listed on the stock market. That is growth. But you can get that growth by improving yourself, improving the business, putting money into the business to grow it. So, passion, which we've talked about, having the right attitude, commitment, being committed to what you have started, to what you are doing, being committed. When you're committed, no matter the voices and the external factors that comes, once you're committed to something, it is difficult for you to lose focus. These things bring growth. If anything would grow, anything that you have started, if you yourself would grow in your change that you're talking about, or that you're seeking and you want to start afresh, then you need to be passionate about it. You need to have the right attitude towards it. You need to be committed to it, and you will grow in what you have started. Growth is only seen when value is added. So how can I see that you say you have changed? Until I see value added. How can I see that this business has grown, that which you have started, until I see value added? I see that it used to be this. You used to be working, selling and hawking, but now I can see that you have a store. You have a shop. Now I can see you have a delivery van as well. You are not working anymore. You can deliver on your own. You have 2 delivery vans. These are value. You've added value to the business that you started. So now we can see growth. So growth is only seen when value is added. Moving from raw material stage to industrialization. And that is the difference between the Western world and the developing world, or the third country world. They have all the raw materials in the ground, but because they have not been able to add value to the raw material, they are still where they are. And the Western world, though they don't have much raw material, they have found a way to add value to raw material. So they go down and they buy the raw material at very low prices, and they come and add value to it and turn the gold that was dug from the ground, turn it into a ring, into this and into that, and now they sell it back to the third world countries at a triple or quadruple price, because they've added value. They've added value. Until you can add value, you don't grow. And this is for us as individuals, but it is also for leaders and for nations. That leadership should look at adding value. When people are going to the polls to vote for people, they don't just vote on tribal lines, vote on personality, who looks good and who does not look good, tall or short, black or white. Look at who is going to add value to our lives, add value to our nation, who is going to bring transformation by adding value. That is what people should do, rather than being myopic in these things. And I don't want to digress, but these things, they are all interlinked, because when change starts with one person, it's like fire. It starts small, but then it will just, within a matter of time, it becomes big. So change should start with you, should start with me. And when it starts with you and it starts with me, the fire will catch on to our children. It will catch on to our friends. It will catch on to other people. And that is how a revolution, a change, a generic change would happen for all of us. So I just want to leave it here. I'm just looking at the time. We've got about 10 minutes. The last thing I want to say in my submission is that for everything that you start, or everything that you want to start, or we are looking forward to start, this fresh start, when we start it and it is going and it is growing and all that, we need to learn to leave a legacy. Leave a legacy. That is when purpose is fulfilled, because purpose should go beyond you. After you are gone, after you are no more here, will we see a legacy left by what you started, by that business you started? Will we see a legacy left by the marriage that you started? Will we see a legacy left by that ministry you started, that career that you started? What legacy would you leave? So start with the end in sight. Very important. Start with the end in sight. Don't just start anything. Start with the end in sight. And like we have said, that time is a frame, but the right time is a moment. That moment doesn't have to be day 1. It doesn't have to be day 2. It doesn't have to be day 100. It could be any day. But until you are ready, until opportunity has been mixed with time, you will not get that right moment. So prepare yourself. Change your attitude. Prepare yourself for that right time, that right moment. Then start. Very important. Many people make the error, I need to start quickly. I need to start. It is good to start quickly. I'm not saying throw caution to the wind and say, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. No. But prepare, keep preparing yourself, working at it for the right time when it will explode. Ezekiel said again, Ezekiel 9:11, it says, the race is not unto the swift, neither is the battle to the strong, nor food for the wise, but time and opportunity happens to them all. Time and opportunity happens to the swift. It happens to the strong. It happens to the wise. It happens to the man with skill. It doesn't happen to just anybody, but it happens to those that are doing something. So that as you keep doing what you are doing, when the right time comes, you will be seen. When the right time comes, you would have launched, but keep doing it. God bless you.
Thank you very much, KWAKU, and God bless you for this wonderful ideas and words of wisdom you've shared with us. For the sake of time, I will just, be brief and also go straight to the point. But before I do that, Audrey Cindy on Facebook says, God bless you, KWAKU and NYG. This is extremely wonderful and excellent life lessons. Thank you very much, Audrey. You can also send your message on Facebook. You can send us a message on either of the platforms you are watching or listening to on Facebook or all of the pages. Send us a message on YouTube, and also you can send us a message via text. All right, so for the sake of time, let me just be brief here and say, getting it right from the start. One of the things, because two of the things I was going to say, that was savings, and then also investment, and then invest right. KWAKU has mentioned it, and I believe that I need not add much to it. But one of the things that I'll finally say is that in as much as we've spoken about getting it right from the start, seek the face of the Lord, we have also spoken about talking to the right people and making sure that you save, and all that we have shared with you. One most essential thing that I want to leave with you is the fact that you need to respect time. You need to respect time. And getting it right, you need to work within a frame of time. Set yourself realistic goals. Set yourself achievable goals with time. That way it is easy for you to evaluate whatever you are doing. And I'm being brought here because somebody might be listening and say, well, you're talking all about investment. I am not even looking at investing. I have my own business. I'm well, and all is fine with me. All I need is marriage. All I need for next year is to be able to, make the right decision to go to school. All I need next year is to be able to make the right decision as to whether I still want to work or I want to stop working. This is what I'm going to share with you, is that respect for time. Give yourself time. And then it will take me back to one of the quotes I made the other day by saying that time makes time for time. If you make time and avail yourself to time, the time itself you have made for yourself will make available for you much time. Because in time, there's planning. In time, there is, you have targets. In time, you do not rush. Because you see others, getting their goals fulfilled, and mine is not being fulfilled. So, let me just cut corners. And no. KWAKU said something. He says that process, you need to go through the right process, and it takes time. If you don't take time and you skip the process, let me go out of investment and address the issue of you want to get married. It is different when you already have a relationship with the person you know you want to marry. And it's different when you are now looking for somebody to marry. You need time. You need to first create an acquaintance. You need to second create or build a friendship. And then from that friendship, you need to now begin to, move from that friendship state to courting. So it is a process. And even within all these things, there are certain things you don't do within this time. Because, you might have your way, but there are other instances whereby it is totally and outrightly wrong to even get to a certain point and start make demands and ask for certain things. So when you respect time, it goes with process. Let me move from there briefly and then go to the issue of the right kind of investment. Invest according to your budget. Start small, as I always say. And always look at, if it's a business you want to do, if it's an investment or trading you want to do, always start small. Waitrose, Sainsbury's, they all did not start one day with over thousands of shops. They started from somewhere and they added value. They improved. They added one, opened another branch. And even today, they are still opening branches. And so start small. Make time available to evaluate. Always make sure you evaluate whatever you have invested into. And the third is, if possible, always look for everyday essentials. Do not go take a loan from the bank and decide to go sell luxurious cars. How many people buy luxurious cars in a day, in a month, or in a year? Do not start small. Do not go for loans or borrow money and then begin to venture into luxurious or high risk budget businesses. If you do that, yes, maybe one sale might be more than I will make in a day or a month. But how often and how regular does your sales come? Look at ventures whereby, if not for anything at all, you are assured of daily sales. Start a business whereby you sell everyday essentials. I am not saying that if you own, let's say, a boutique or a shop or a fashion clothing, it's not good. It is good. But always have at the back of your mind, if it is your first business, always start small. And I'm emphasizing on the fact that you need to start small, because it is the small that will project your growth. When you've got the foundation, when you've got the basics right, that is when, at least, if at certain point in time you begin to bring in other investments and you begin to, improvise, then when you are hit with the storm, and the storm here are difficulties, there are problems, there are issues, sometimes, getting your supplies on time, sometimes financial difficulties and all that. But when you start small and you always improve and progress, you have a backup, as KWAKU mentioned, on savings. It will get to a point in time, sales might not be as regular because of times and seasons. You have a backup. So one of the things you don't do is to go borrow or to go take a loan and start a high risk, luxurious investment. Always look at time with whatever you do. And finally, what I'll leave with you finally is that remember that even though you will start right, remember that when you start right and all seems to be going, there is always a storm that comes across. There will be a day where there will be a challenge. There will be a day where there will be a situation which is beyond your control. When that time comes, keep calm. Be rest assured. Ask yourself all the relevant and necessary questions. The hows, the when, the ifs, and at any point in time, make sure that you do not forget your documentary. Always put pen to paper at the end of every single day. It could even be a marriage, it could even be a business, it could be education, whatever it is, put something on paper. Something that you can always go back and refer to. Something not to refer to the negative anyway, but something that you can always go back, pick up what you wrote, look through it, revise, and come back as a better person. I believe that for the sake of time, we will end it here. And
NYG, just something just
please go ahead.
Something funny came into my mind.
I wasn't going to end without giving you the chance to talk, KWAKU, but please go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just when you talked about process, and I just wanted to something funny came into my mind. I've heard people say, and sometimes we laugh at it, that we're in a fast food generation. So everything is fast, and people are looking for quick ways of making it, quick ways of making money. And there's so many things out there on the internet. You go on the internet and there's online businesses and all that. I'm not saying they're good or bad, and that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, KWAKU, next year will be just a quick one. Next year, God willing, we'll be looking at how to start your own business online. So but we'll give date and time in due course. That's just by the way anyway.
Yeah. But the reason I was saying this is, people say, oh, we're in a fast food generation, or we're in the internet generation. Everything is fast. But one thing I just want to say is that even at the fast food, the fact that it is fast food, you start at the drive-through and then you come out the other end and you've got your food, doesn't stop the food being cooked. It still has to be cooked. So
that's great.
No matter how fast you want it to go, you cannot avoid process. The fast food still goes through the cooking process. It still goes through the process. All that has happened is that the processes have been improved. The processes have been, there's more efficiencies put into the processes, but it doesn't change the cooking process.
And KWAKU, just as you're saying, it's been worked on with time.
Yes.
That is why before you make your order and you drive to the other side, it is done because they are on point with time. KWAKU, please go on.
So the point I just wanted to make is that you cannot skip process. Nobody can skip process. You cannot just get up, have a oh, I'm going to do this, and you, by any means possible, you're going to get it. There is process. And every process that you take, now I'm using means, has a price to pay. So if you go through some foul means and get what you want, there's still a price to pay at the end. The right process is you pay the price as you go through it. It is time. But the wrong ways or means, you pay the price at the end. You may get what you want, but you may pay with your life. You may get what you want, but you may lose a loved one. So that is all I just wanted to say, that even a fast food generation still goes through process.
This has been the Fresh Start, starting well and getting it right from the start 2021. My very special personality here with me has been KWAKU TANO-YEBOAH. KWAKU is the co-founder of the Victorious Christian Life Ministry. KWAKU is live on Faith Channel Radio every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. It is not ended yet. Join KWAKU this Saturday, 9 a.m. I believe that KWAKU has something wonderful to share with you and with myself. Saturdays, 9 a.m. on the Cosmopolitan Weekend Show. I am also on radio Saturday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Just when I am getting out of the seat, KWAKU also takes the seat from me. So join us on Faith Channel Radio every weekend. That's Saturday from 6 to 9 a.m. for the Cosmopolitan Weekend Show and the Victorious Christian Life Ministry. You can find all this podcast on Podbean. You can search for Victorious Christian Life Ministries. KWAKU, I believe it's ministries on Podbean.
Ministry.
Okay, so it's Victorious
the
Christian.
singular.
Okay, Victorious Christian Life Ministry on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Podbean, all the podcast platforms. You can also find NYJ Podcast on YouTube and also on all the podcast platforms from Apple to Spotify to all the Google Podcast, all of them. You can also find us, and then you can also reach to us on Facebook on Victorious Christian Life Ministry, Supreme Praise Radio, Faith Channel Radio, Gospel Exclusive Media. KWAKU, I believe you have something to say.
I just want to thank all our listeners for sticking with us. I know we've gone a bit further than the hour and a half that we said today, but I believe that it has been a blessing to all of us, and that it is something that we can all share with friends and loved ones. So if you can share the stream from our Facebook platforms, Faith Channel Radio, Supreme Praise, Victorious Christian Life Ministry, Facebook platforms, and share to friends, and so that your friends and your loved ones who were not able to listen live would also have the opportunity to hear what we've said. And like we said, God willing, we will come your way again with other things, other topics, live practical topics, not just Bible, not just Bible exposition, but practical living topics that we can apply to our lives here on earth to fulfill God's purpose for our lives. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. You are a winner. You are here with us. 30th December, we will see 31st, and we will all see the 1st of January 2021. And let's all have a wonderful, fresh start into the new year.
Thank you very much, KWAKU. I believe that all is said. All I will add to it is that you can still engage with us. Please, we would love to hear your comments, your questions. Get interactive on our social media platforms. Even when the stream is done, we will be very pleased to respond to your questions and your contributions. We really need that to be able to do more and to also be able to improve. So thank you very much. It's been myself, NYG, and KWAKU TANO-YEBOAH coming your way. A very happy new year in advance, and God willing, we will all see you in the new coming year 2020.